going on, YouTube? It's been a while. My name is Doug. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to another video. We're going to be listening to DaBaby's new album, KIRK. I know I'm a little late, so I want to thank you all for being so patient while you waited for this video. And, I just wanted to say thank you for all the love you've been showing to the other videos that I posted last week. I know that last week I didn't post much. I've got a lot of other stuff going on right now at the moment. So, I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy to be finally getting a chance to make this video for you guys. I hope you all enjoy this. So, yeah, let's get right into it. DaBaby, I'll be honest, I was put onto him because of the XXL Freshman Cypher. And I really just never gave him a listen beforehand. So after that, I went back and listened to Baby on Baby. And, I've got to give that a few more listens to really get a good feel for it. But I've been really enjoying it. I like his delivery, his style. The flow it's an interesting take on the triplet flow. It's a flow that we hear a lot. But he does have his own spin on it. He does have his own delivery and his own approach to the flow that is very unique to him specifically. So I do enjoy that, and I just think that he's been kind of refreshing. I feel like he's been blowing up a lot recently, and people have been really liking him and really seeing him in a very positive light recently. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he's blowing up and being so successful, and I'm just interested to see what he's got for us with this project. So I'm gonna listen to this for the first time, and then we'll try and dissect it along the way. I haven't listened to the intro. I know he put it out like a week before the project actually dropped. Yeah, no, I never listened to that. I waited for the album. So let's get into it. First track is intro, like I said, and this is KIRK by DaBaby, which is his last name if I'm not mistaken, right? You can let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong. Yeah, let's get it. Also, forgive me for the background noise. My neighbors are listening to music kind of loudly. I shut the door, shut the windows, but if you can still hear the sound in the background, sorry about that. There's not much I can do.
Bobbing and shit, and I'm just someone fucked up thinking about my father and shit. They found him dead a couple days before I started to a number one that's fucked up. That shit that was confusing a little bit. I flew in with the stick. Okay, let me know what's up. Today I lost a nigga that had my nigga perform on BET. A year ago, couldn't afford the sound. I had to move in with TG when I went broke, moving out the Lil John, my song, it just went platinum, nigga. We on our own time, let's go move out the Cali, nigga. Put the kids at home, feeling like dope boy when his brother died. In the hood, I stick, I rep, about baby, nigga.
He kind of reflects on this track on his father's unfortunate passing. He kind of shows some love and appreciation to the family members that he's still got. And at the same time reflecting on the fact that all of this happened around him at the same time that he was blowing up and really rising in the public view and having to deal with all of that. And all of a sudden you've also got this huge spotlight that's on you and having to go through that. And he, one of the lines is, how did I just perform on BET when last year I couldn't afford a sandwich or something like that. That's just kind of like a reflection on how quick people really do blow up nowadays. And I saw this video that J. Cole was talking about the other day where there's no real such thing as an overnight success. A lot of people that blow up out of nowhere have put a lot of work into getting to the point where they finally blow up. Still though, even though there's no such thing as an overnight success, people do tend to rise in recognition and fame faster because of social media, because of the internet, and because of how interactive people are on there and how easy it is to share the music with so many people at the same time. So just the fact that he is on TV now and a year ago he had nothing basically is really just a testament to how quick people do become famous. And it's also dangerous because people can fall off really quickly as well. So yeah, he's just kind of reflecting on how far he's come and having to deal with all the family stuff at the same time. It's a great track. I like the humming in the background, the vocalizing, the beat's really bouncy. And I like his flow on this because it's different. It's not that same triplet flow that he normally does. He puts a little twist on it, which I think is really cool. So track 2 is Off the Rip.
They want to see me up the road with my lawyer, fool, we dismissing the charge. BDBNT, we gon' put up Infinity's challenge. And I don't got a cent for a hoe. She bringing up money, I'm changing the topic. She need to be talking about sucking some dick city buzz. This baby mama unemployed, so she in the club with her ass and her titties out. And we done route so many plugs, you better check that up, flicking the nigga off. I'm revving the gas, burning out a nigga's ass, I'm showing my engine off.
Yeah, that one was really short. It's less than 2 minutes long. I don't really like that beat. I just don't think it's really interesting. This is that triplet flow that I said that he uses normally. This is the flow that he approaches most tracks with, that he kind of made his own. And one thing that is kind of off-putting is that he does tend to rap with this flow kind of quickly, and so it's very easy for him to get off beat. He kind of starts rhyming before the beat a little bit, and that's something that I'm paying attention to because personally it does kind of sound bad whenever that does happen. He doesn't stay off beat for too long. He normally finds his way back, but it is something that goes on. It is something that happens as a result of how fast he does try to rap sometimes. And yeah, that's just something that I feel like maybe with time he'll have to work on. And also, I am hoping that he doesn't approach I'm not going to say every track, because obviously that intro was different in his approach and his delivery. But I will say that I do hope that most of the tracks on this project aren't really approached with this same flow, or else that could get a little repetitive. Track 3 is Bop. He loves these beats with the flutes.
Let's go. My bitch got good pussy, fly her across the country. I finished the show and I been it. I got me a milli, I did it legit. I'm 100. Probably won't hear me open my mouth, bless you hear me talking about finding some money. Let's go. As soon as I find it, my bitch got good pussy, fly her across the country. I finished the show and I been it. I got me a milli, I did.
Yeah, he has been keeping these tracks really short. That one was under 3 minutes as well, which is something that personally I like, especially with this style of music, because when tracks do get, you know, over 3 minutes, 3 minutes and 30 seconds, they tend to get a little repetitive, because these beats, although they are very fire, and I do love that loop, the flute loop, and the keys that sound almost like a really muffled, plucked guitar. You know, they sound really interesting. When you have that same loop going on for over 3 minutes, it can get repetitive. And also, the same goes for the flow. You know, when you use that triplet flow for too long, it'll get really repetitive, especially when you've got multiple tracks that are over 3 minutes on the project. So he's been smart to keep these tracks short, and if you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know that I really appreciate the tracks that are under 3 minutes, especially with how fast everything is nowadays. You know, everybody has access to immediate information, and it just really feels like there's a tendency to come back to songs that are shorter, because you get that quick fix of trap music and you can fly through like 10 tracks in, you know, less than 15 minutes. So I do like that about this song. Like I said, I like the production. I think that the 808 is great. It's really bouncy. The hi-hats really add to that bounce to this beat. Bless you. Yeah, his aggressive delivery, you know, all of that is just, it's a really typical DaBaby track, and that's what people love about him. And like I said, I think it's great, and I do enjoy it. I'm just hoping that it doesn't feel like this album gets repetitive at any point, you know? It's great, but I hope he doesn't overdo it, is what I'm trying to say. The next track is Vibes. Keys are already great.
Fuck with me, but I don't got the time. Stopped off for pride, get in the ride. And no, a nigga not blind, but I keep the stick in the fire. And let a nigga in line. This fuck bitch don't play about pay. Baby should go run for president. Look what God did. Took a time with. He got a red light, hold like a pin on the dog. He send me the bed, ever made you $1 million. I tell him, riddle me that. Ain't offending me yet. My bitch.
Yeah, man, that one's under 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So, like I said, the last track, he's been keeping these real short, man. Production on this is great. I'm loving the loop, the melodies, the keys. You know, that I'm searching for the word and I'm trying to find it. It's God damn. The word that I'm trying to use to describe the keys is just on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember it right now. But it is great. It almost feels like yeah. I'm not gonna remember the word now. It's gonna kill me. But yeah, I'm really digging the loop and the keys on this track. You know, this again really bouncy 808. It's a banger for sure. His delivery again is just as energetic as the beat is. You know, he's not saying much. I mean, most of these tracks has just been really, he's flexing. It's entertaining and it's fun to listen to. You know, and again, they're really quick fixes. You know, the short tracks. So we can fly through a bunch of these really quickly. So that's also is great. Next track is Pop Star.
They probably tell you I would pop until a nigga play with me and he get popped. I told her fuck the police. Yeah, she right beside me and she sending news. But my bitch is cool. If you with the shit like I'm with the shit, they play they gon' make the news. Yeah, I leave your sis on Sunday. At your grandma play, she until he lie. She breaks and speed it up like she a cop. Now she got her hands in New Mexico. Third around extension, mini glizzy. I'm all ranking the cartel, a bitch me Puerto Rico gangland. 100 bricks ain't nothing, I push the button and make the plane land.
See, I think that by adding the feature, he made this track a whole lot better than what it would have been if it were just him. And I feel like maybe that's the way to keep this project interesting and keep it fresh, is definitely by adding some features. Kevin Gates was the highlight of this track, in my opinion. The chorus is, you know, it's reasonably simple and catchy, I guess. The beat is great again. He loves those flute melodies in the background, you know. Was this one made by Cash Money AP? Yeah, Cash Money AP and Mbeza. Shout out to them because they really killed this beat, dude. I remember I used to listen to Cash Money AP's beats on YouTube, You know, it's always nice to hear him getting some placements. So it's a typical DaBaby track. It's something that I would expect coming from him. It's a fire track for sure. You know, it's not necessarily bad. But in the context of a project, is it repetitive? You know, that's the question. When you're listening to this critically, it's something that needs to be mentioned. You know, but by all means, it's a really good track. Gospel is next. YK, Osiris, Gucci Mane, and Chance the Rapper.
It's like some of the ghetto BMT. I'm ready to pound on my house and a nigga tempt me. And the day I die, baby.
No, it's a no-go.
And everybody wondering why he come round and those jobs all alone. Couldn't quit. We was on the loan when we was jit. Before I was grown, before I was
Little keys are great.
Friend, get on my dick. I ain't had time to think. I ain't had time to breathe. I've been praying to the Lord. I've been talking on my knees. I've been thinking about my pops. I've been thinking about my house.
Like I abandoned the race, and you ran in my place. Shoes too big, but the use hair strands as a lace, and they break. Gotta keep it cool here, niggas got PTSD these days. Some folks ain't gonna see these days. I feel alive like that's coolin'.
Fuck niggas make me sick, they got me nauseous. Paranoid, all this money moving cautious.
Yeah, so that one's definitely the most radio-friendly song on here so far. This is probably the one that he's probably going to try to push to the radio and to get people to listen to a lot. Is probably going to be the next single, you know, off of the project. I know the intro was the first one, I think. I think the features are nice. They're all short. You know, YK Osiris doesn't really feel necessary since he only has like 3 or 4 lines in the hook. But I can see why they added him, you know, just to get a little bit of a melodic rapper on here. Chance the Rapper probably had my favorite verse. His delivery is a little more dynamic. He plays around a little more with his vocal range, you know, goes from being really loud to quieter and plays around a lot with his delivery. I think that's interesting. But for the most part, this is just, it's a radio-friendly song, and it's definitely like DaBaby gone pop a little bit, you know? It's not bad. It's just not what I really listen to DaBaby for, you know what I mean? It's still a great track, and I think that is probably going to be the one that does the most numbers, honestly. Next track is iPhone.
Something only I know. Hey, I'm trying to stay up on my iPhone. Don't my because my bitch is ungrateful, so I'm out with my side. Oh, she gon' treat me different. I just go check the speed. I just made 100K off a show. I just made 50K off a weed. Yeah, you know I like to play with your hoe.
Cause to be honest, I put my side nigga above him. Tell him that I know that he creepin' with that hoe. Tell him niggas just stupid as plenty one day. Ain't about to be sitting home crying for you. Better get one and pick if you ride him. All these niggas is like, how you ain't know a queen from a rap. She saw that she's now you about to get trapped. I really you gon' be doubling back.
Doubling back. Look, man, you know, this is going to be another one that's kind of more radio friendly because he's being more melodic and he went more for a pop rap beat, and it goes hard. You know, the bass hits for sure, and people are going to really like this song. But if you're looking at it critically, you know, if you're going to put it on and have it in the background, or you're zoning out, or you're doing something else and this is going on, you can kind of tone out, you know, what they're saying or whatever, and just kind of vibe with the beat because the beat is great. But if you're looking at it critically in terms of analyzing the track and the performances and everything like that, they don't really say much. I don't feel like in their verses, when they transition from singing to rapping, I don't think that they transition very well. You know, DaBaby's was kind of awkward, where he basically said that line about riding like a motorbike, and then there was kind of like an awkward pause before he started actually rapping. And the same thing with Nicki Minaj's verse. I don't feel like she went from singing to rapping to singing again, and I don't think that they transitioned very well, you know, from one section of her verse into the next. I also think that some of the lines are corny, especially that one towards the end of her verse where she says, "How do you know a queen from a rat? She saw that cheese, now you're about to get trapped. How you ain't know a queen from a rat? Ireland, you gonna be doubling back," like Dublin. It's a city in Ireland. I'm not sure if it's the capital. Forgive my ignorance, but I know the fact that Dublin, like doubling, but at the same time Dublin, like the city. You know, I feel like it. I mean, some people wouldn't catch that. You know, so I guess you could say that it's not easy, but Nicki's capable of better. You know, I will say that much. Also, the Aretha and Respect. I mean, it's, you know, that video that Eminem made about rhymes that you're not allowed to use anymore because they've been so played out. I just feel like using the Aretha Franklin and Respect bar has just been, I don't know, it just feels too easy for professional rappers to actually be using those bars in a song, you know? But again, this is me being critical, this is me being picky. And most people will not have a problem with that, I'm aware. And when I come back to this to listen to it for pleasure, will most likely gloss over it and pretend that I just didn't hear it. But, you know, here in this video, my job is to analyze it and to be critical. And so that's why I'm pointing this out. I know a lot of people sometimes misconstrue that as hating, you know, or something like that, but it's not. Like I said, on a casual listen, these things, they go unnoticed, you know. This is just me being picky in order to critique the song for the sake of the video. Get it? It's different. So if you like this song, more power to you, you know, replay it a bunch of times. I'm not hating on it. I would definitely come back and listen to it for sure. It's just some of those little details that when you're criticizing the track, you know, you've got to pay attention to. The next track is Toes.
Does of mine. Alright, I look like without them 20. But them hoes like how I'm coming. Yeah, I look like without this money. I'm capping my rap by the time this shit drop, they gon' pay me some more. And I still can go back to the traps in the back, pick it up, make a play at the stove. Feel the stick. Say you got that sack, I got that sack. But ain't no ones of mine. No, my little bitch say I'm getting too booty. I don't even like
You ain't pick it, I'm buying. I had a roof for a young dry. I get on work on the bottom trap. Yeah, on this shit, I ain't lying. Look at me now. They pay me to flex and shine. I'm up, let's get it. Big speaker like an 18-inch sub. Yeah, I'm 100.
Yeah, man, I like the beat for this one. I like the whistling sample. I like the wood blocks that they use as the percussion. You know, there's a lot of really interesting little details in this beat that I can appreciate. Who produced it? Queen Sixites, or is it just a typo and it's 60s? You know, it might be a typo in Genius, and Kenny Beats also had some production credit on that. So, you know, the beat is great. I think Moneybagg Yo, his feature was alright, I guess. You know, like I said, the features do add a little bit of an interesting touch to the tracks to keep them interesting and fresh, so that we don't have to listen to just DaBaby. The only bar that I would kind of criticize on this would be the 50 Cent "I'm in the Club" bar, because again, it's an easy illusion to make, you know. But other than that, you know, this is just one of those tracks that's really short. It's a banger. It goes pretty hard. Bump it in the whip, and yeah, you know, it's not bad. Next track is Really.
They wanna know if he can rap and tell them really. Tell my bitches call me cause I done finally got $1 million. Let's go. You know, and I know I look good, so take your picture. Nigga, hey babe, I know that I look good. You ain't got.
He just said smoke a blunt, don't do any other drugs, and immediately said turn up, go get some liquor. Now, I'm not judging, but if you're saying don't do any other drugs and you're immediately saying go get liquor, it kind of implies that you don't know that liquor is a drug. I mean, it's illicit, you know, it's legal, although now weed is also as well in some places, but it is still a drug. So, you know, that's just a bad bar because it's not factual, you know, but whatever.
I know how bad drop, and I drop beat. I pick it up and I holler at her. Say she wanna fuck, she don't wanna take a pic. They wanna know if he can spit for real. He think I'm capping, he think I can't get him killed for real. Try your lips, you know my pocket's crippin'. I pop tag, drop bang, but they pop a nigga. All my neighbors white folk.
Yeah, man, again, another short banger. The beat goes hard, the little vocal chop is great, the little piano melodies, I mean, it's all really well executed. It's all very fun to listen to. This is gonna go very hard if you play this at a party. You know, the beat is great, and it definitely makes this track as good as it is. I do like that DaBaby did switch up his flow for this one. It's not the triplet flow, you know, he's got this really cool bouncy flow that works really well. Stunner for Vegas had a really cool verse. His delivery was very interesting. He had to do multiple takes to get it to sound the way that it does. And I think that it sounds refreshing and different and interesting, and it's cool. So, you know, it's a cool track. It's not bad. Next track is Probably Heard.
Waiting in line at the shows, I don't want fuck with her, let my bro here. No, I'm the first one to come out of Charlotte. Okay, I pull up with a bitch so thick, think I'm in orbit. Slamming the hoe like a O'Neal. She want money from pussy. Bitch ass nigga. Probably heard I was broke from a broke nigga. Probably heard I'm a hoe from me. Orange juice. The first nigga try me, I squeeze. Let's go. Before I fucked a few of her friends, can you tell her stop calling me?
That orange juice line was pretty clever. I like that one. That was dope. Very aggressive beat, right? Crazy 808s on this one. Very aggressive delivery from DaBaby as well. Really cool little flute loop. It sounds like a pan flute. It's really dope. But yeah, like I said during the track, you know how during the chorus he goes off beat just a little bit before he finally comes back? You know, that's what I was talking about. He just needs to work on that execution of his flow and keep it a little more on beat, because it does kind of sound sloppy when he gets off beat like that. But other than that, you know, it's a really hard track. I mean, it's been the same thing though for like the last few tracks. You know, my fears are coming to fruition. It is getting a little repetitive, you know, sadly. Although the tracks are short, listening to them in order like this, one after another, does get a little bit repetitive. Even with the features. The features are a very nice attempt at switching things up and keeping the listen fresh. And for those specific songs, you know, they work. But when you're listening to them all in sequence, even with the features, it does get a little repetitive.
Nigga, let me walk down on your ass, leave you stuck in the sand like a motherfucker starfish. Baby, come give me a challenge, it's sight, come on. Nigga, better stay away from that water, I let this bitch off, is gon' kickin' that street shit. That's your boy, yeah, he ain't me, bitch. Check me out on your screen, BET, bitch.
You know I got talent, but it's still talking. Smoke with the pilot in the skybox. The color they came with an umbrella. Against
Man, they know we really was savages. Ain't in the UPS or with the FedEx, but a nigga be packing it.
these niggas broke, maggots, go. Take your bitch throat, stab it. All them motherfuckers got added.
Yeah, man, that's a banger. It definitely fits that he got the Amigos to feature on here. This is definitely more of a Amigos type beat, you know. DaBaby makes trap music, but the beats are actually very distinct between Migos and DaBaby. You know, his whole style is very different from theirs. There are some similarities that put it in the same genre, of course, you know, in terms of flow, delivery, and the style of beat, but in terms of the actual production and some of the production choices, the elements, the keys, the little melodies, this is very much so in the Migos lane, which I think is a smart move on DaBaby's part, you know, to put Migos on a Migos type beat and to fit their style instead of making them fit his. I think it's a really dope track, you know, I like the features. It's probably the longest one on here so far, 3 minutes and 37 seconds, and that's mostly because DaBaby actually, when he does the chorus, repeats it twice, which I think is unnecessary. I think once would have been fine, but he felt the need to do it twice every time, so, you know, it is what it is. It's a great track. It's definitely one of the more enjoyable ones, for sure. It's definitely one of the harder ones, and, you know, the Migos being on here will definitely get this one also a whole bunch of plays. Next track is There We Go.
Get my ass kicked by a white man, cause his daughter fuck with my ad lib. Oh, I done dropped dick and I just did 5 shows, 3 days. And like with that bag, bitch. It's on 45K in the 4-5, so I said, okay. Really selling pussy, she act like she selling swimwear. A couple thousand to your name, act like $1 million.
I think this track is very interesting in that there's no real hook. It's all production, basically. London on the track killed that hook, honestly, with it feels almost like it's a vocal sample that was heavily edited to sound like a synth. I may be mistaken. It might just be a really interesting synth with some choruses on it, but who knows? It sounds really interesting, and it was very different for DaBaby to choose to not even write a hook and just let the production actually do its own thing. I think it's great. I like that about this track. I like that he didn't feel the need to do too much. The second verse was pretty dope. I like that he switched up the flow and he actually gave us some real bars. You know, he gave us some real lyrics about coming up and struggling from coming up from the bottom. So I think it's pretty dope. You know, it's a nice track, and it's also, again, back on the shorter side. The last track is Double XL.
Trying to be positive, mom. They ain't fucking with Jonathan, mom. No.
Okay, so lyrically, this is basically his Double XL freestyle for the cypher. He just put a beat over it, like another beat besides that, instead of that Double XL beat.
I pulled over with 55K in my pocket. The police, they know I'm legit. The police, they know I got stick. They be worried about it. They say I'm the hottest new nigga. Go check the thermometer. That nigga sick. Nigga must have a fever or something. Or he was born up.
Yeah, man. So basically, I heard this verse on the cypher, and I honestly think that it sounds better with the beat from the cypher instead of this beat, you know. This is the finished version. It's got ad-libs, you know, it's got the mixing and the mastering, sure, but I actually preferred the cypher version of this track. So anyways, man, this project is, you know, honestly, it's just okay. It's nothing too great. I've got to give it more listens in order to compare it to the rest of his projects, and I've got to give his other projects also more listens. Like I said, I'm relatively new to his music, so I'm not going to pretend to, like, know what I'm talking about and when it comes to comparing this to his other projects. But in terms of albums that came out this year that I've listened to, this is you know, just average. This is definitely in the 5 to 6 range in terms of number ratings. It does get a little repetitive towards the middle because, you know, I mean, when you have every single song on the project as a banger, with similar production and delivery and performance coming from you, you know, it's very easy to become repetitive. Especially, I mean, even though this is relatively short as a project, I think it's less than 35 minutes long, definitely less than 40. Even though this is a relatively shorter project, it still sounds a little repetitive because, you know, there's not much variation in terms of his performance, his delivery, the styles of the beats, and things like that. Like I said, it was a very solid attempt with the features to keep things fresh and interesting and different, but again, even his features are in the same style of music, the same genre of music as him. So although they do their part and they're all relatively good, they're not different enough to keep us interested in terms of the entire project. They do their thing for the track and they make the tracks interesting, but in terms of listening to this project as a whole, it does get very repetitive in the middle. And that's kind of the reason why this comes off as an average first listen. You know, it's nothing too different or special or amazing. DaBaby is aggressive, you know, and he's got that swagger to him that is really fun to listen to. He's very braggadocious, he's cocky, he flexes a lot, and he's still hungry, you know, because he just rose to fame. So that's something that's interesting. And I'm really excited to see how he uses this fame throughout the rest of his career, to see, you know, how creative he gets and how versatile he actually becomes. But in terms of this project right here, is just okay. You know, it's mid, it's average, it's good, it's just not great. So let me know what you guys think about this project in the comment section. Let me know what you think, or how you think that this stacks up with some of his other projects in his discography. And thank you all so much for watching the video. Be sure to support the channel on Patreon, or with a subscription to the channel, or by following me on my social media. Either one of those would be really, really dope. I appreciate you all so much for the support, and I'll see you all in another video very soon. Until then, guys, stay safe. Peace out.